Is there anyone that would like to address the board? Yes. Jen.
Jen O'Donnell, Muriel. I have a two-part question. When the meeting was held at Mullen, my son watched tiles being replaced during the day before the nightly meeting. I would like to know why. Also, he saw a board member, what he said was inspecting the school, walking around with other people looking at things. So I would like to know if board members were doing that before the public meeting. Did it have something to do with the ceiling tiles being replaced, and why?
Kathy? This is for
Ceiling
you.
tiles were being replaced as part of routine maintenance. Whenever we see any tiles that are stained, we have to replace them. It's required. And board members came to look at some things because they had had some information that there were some problems in some areas at Mullen, and they wanted to see for themselves what was going on as far as the air quality and the tiles were concerned. Had nothing to do with the meeting being that night. It just happened to fall into when they heard something.
Can you tell me what board members?
Mrs. Johnson, Mr. Gagliardi.
And that was it?
I need you up to speak.
Terry French, Classic, New Jersey.
Nice.
I know that in the summer of 2014, because I was here, that the board then voted to spend, I believe it was $1,700,000 and some $1,000 for a new HVAC system for the Mullen School. And I'm wondering if the board knows, why do they still have problems? Why do they have water dripping? Why do they need their ceiling tiles replaced? Do you know if they have any more mold like they had 2 years ago? What does the board know in regard to the Mullen School and the issues that you're hearing parents talk about and I'm reading about? And so what do you know, and can you share it with us?
Is that your only question for this segment?
Yeah,
Okay.
the Mullen School, the water and the mold, that's my only question.
Okay, thank you. Would you?
Sure. Can I ask you, where did you hear of any reports of Mullen School with leaking tiles? From tonight?
I heard it from
On the
tonight,
internet?
and I read it. Yeah, I read
From
it
a
on-
school administrator, an employee?
No.
No. On the internet?
I read it from a post on the I think it's called the New Jersey Parents, whatever it's
Well, I don't know how
called.
reliable that is. I'm going to let the business office answer that question. I know that we have a facility supervisor here, so Kathy, with regard to $1.7 million at Mullen?
We do have a new HVAC system, and there were some, not problems with the HVAC system at all. There were some leaks, and we are addressing some things on the roof that has nothing to do with the HVAC system. It's part of the roof that didn't have anything to do with the new HVAC system.
Okay.
We are addressing them, repairing them as we go along. We are getting some repairs done. The roof's getting old, the integrity is getting less and less, so in a few years we will probably need a new roof. But we are taking care of the incidents as they occur. There were some questions with air quality, and some dampers weren't opened, and we are double checking them to make sure all the dampers are open so the air circulates fine. Someone had played with a univent in one of the rooms, and they shouldn't be touching them. But we are addressing all these issues as they come up, and we are doing preventive maintenance to make sure they don't happen. There are no major issues at all with the air quality or mold or anything in the Mullen School.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Forsythe. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board at this time? All the way back in the corner, I just see a hand.
Yes, Christine Thomas, hi, Mullen School, I'm a teacher at Mullen School, and I beg to differ with some of the things that are said. I want to know how you're going to ensure that we have good air quality and that we are working and the students are being educated in a safe and healthy working environment, because as I stand here right now, I don't feel confident that I am. I was one of the teachers that had a room with a very poor problem with CO2 levels being very high. If it weren't for the fact that I pushed for testing to be done, we wouldn't even have known what the problem was, and I truly don't think that that's the only problem. Now that they claim that the CO2 levels have gone down, my room still has an odor to it. I still feel the same lightheadedness every day from about mid-morning till I leave the building. And I'm not the only one. I'm just here to tell you because I'm the only one that wants to seems to want to speak out a little bit about it. And last minute, we heard that some parents were, bringing it to the forefront a little bit. So I thought I would come and let the parents know that there are teachers who have come forth and complained. It's not just, it's not just okay, like everybody seems to say it. It's been years that we've been fighting this battle. And I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, when they told us that the HVAC, last year, I didn't say much last year because they told us, oh, please be patient, we're having the HVAC system fixed. And you know what, the whole HVAC system was not replaced. At least that's not what we're being told. It was not all replaced. And whatever was replaced, they seemed to ignore the smaller parts of the building, mainly the classrooms. And I don't know about the story about people playing with univents, but I've been in that position where I've been made to feel like it's my belongings in my room that smell. Let's take everything out of your room, which they did, most of it's still in the boys' locker room, and we'll bring things back one at a time to see if the smell comes back. But the smell that was horrendous, that finally got people talking and had the county come in to test air quality, that smell has gotten better, but there is still an odor in the room, and the odor was still present even before they started bringing my belongings back. So there's more to it, there's a lot more to it. I mean, I don't want to take up everybody's time, but there are issues in that building. I just truly believe it, and I feel like it's not being taken care of, and it's, I don't know, if it weren't for teachers asking for certain rooms to be tested, for instance, on Friday, someone did a little investigative work and said 3 years ago when we had some testing done, that room C16 was high for CO2. Could we go check that? So they checked that room. It was up to 1,800. The kids shouldn't have been in the room. The teachers shouldn't have been in the room.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I'll try my best. First of all, I know, Ms. Thomas, that the issues that you've been experiencing, you have brought them to the building level administration, correct?
Yes.
And has the building level administration responded to you in writing on what they've done this year to date? I recall seeing an at-length email from Mr. Caesar
Yes.
on what they have done to date, correct?
Yes.
So with respect to the building responding, I think a great deal has been done. In fact, we brought out the county.
I'm not saying things haven't been done.
I know, I have the floor now. What I'm saying is the county has come out and has reviewed your specific room and has determined that there were low CO2 levels, like inappropriately, correct, Mr. Mark? And then what do we do in response to that?
We had a problem. We have somebody that actually within 20 minutes the problem was resolved.
Is it fixed?
Yes.
Thank you. And I think
In my room. Thank you.
I think it's been, as far as C7, is C17 a different part of the building? 16? And I think that we had sent some staff in there in a precautionary matter, correct? Not a complaint, precautionary. We determined, I think Mrs. Forsythe addressed that tonight, that one of the dampers was touched by staff that we don't know. Has that been fixed?
That has been fixed.
Okay. Is there anything that I don't know as superintendent about Mullen School? Do you want to share what have we been doing at Mullen School with regard to elevated CO2 to address any staff or student complaints?
No, and we actually be more proactive, based on what she was saying.
Ms. Thomas?
Right. Putting everything in her room, from taking completely all the furniture out, the different vacations, just to know what was needed. So now what we are doing, we're selecting some rooms with some random tests, just to catch the problem before it becomes a problem.
Okay.
And so far, everything is good.
Okay. Ms. Rosado, I know you're the vice principal. I appreciate you and Mr. Caesar filling in for Mr. Tro as I hijacked him into the central office as director. Have staff been coming to you with regard to any complaints about Mullen Middle School?
They have not been complaining about Ms. Thomas's was October 5th, you know, that same day we contacted Mr. Kumar. And the testing, there was a process to it, trying to process elimination, but they did do the testing. The county came back out again, did a second testing. Everything is corrected, okay? And other issues have come up, but with the one thing, other things come up, so the air conditioning and whatnot, it's all been corrected. There was the band, the stage, there was a high level of CO2. The company was out, they corrected that within 20 minutes as well.
Okay.
And
I would
then-
ask that based upon Ms. Thomas visiting the board meeting tonight, she has every right to do so. She's concerned about, the building environment she's in. I would recommend that you, along with your senior level reps, have a meeting to discuss any remaining concerns. Mr. Kumar has asked that you either get minutes from that meeting or an idea from Ms. Rosado so we can continue to address them proactively. Okay? Can we do that sometime tomorrow? Can you do that, Ms. Thomas?
Pardon me?
Can you meet with the administration on your...
Oh, I can, sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would, we're out of time. Okay. I'm sorry.
Really?
My clock keeps telling me we're out of time. Okay. Is there any, I don't see any more hands.
Oh,
I
no.
do see more
Yeah.
hands. I don't know if anyone on the board would like to make a motion to extend time for a third time. I'm going to ask for non-repetitive comments, though, if the subject has already been addressed. Okay. If the subject has already been addressed, we are not going to take repetitive comments. So we do have a motion on the floor by Mrs. Johnson. Do we have a second to extend? Hearing none, we'll move on to board member comments. Is there anyone on the board that would